The spark of arrogance. The first strike was not subtle, it was not careful, it was not even necessary. On the outer rim of Orion's arm, the Tarkesh Dominion made its move. Humanity's new colony on Eridan Prime was still young, barely 20 years old. Its soil was red, its sky thin, its people stubborn. 100,000 settlers lived beneath geodesic domes, turning a barren rock into a home. The Tarkesh did not see settlers. They saw resources, they saw weakness, and above all, they saw an opportunity to send a message. Without warning, their warships descended. Plasma bombardments turned domes into shattered glass and bone. Whole families vanished in gouts of fire. Tarkesh officers watched from orbit, their mandibles clacking in laughter. To them, it was nothing more than sport. The Dominion's commander, Admiral Korvac, broadcast his mockery across the local subspace net. Earth breeds cattle in the stars. We will butcher them at our leisure. When the smoke cleared, Eridan Prime was ash. The survivors, less than 3,000, were dragged into chains and paraded as trophies. The galaxy watched. Some whispered sympathy, most remained silent. And when the Galactic Council convened, their verdict was cold. Humans lack the fleets, the firepower, the resolve. Retaliation is impossible. To strike back at the Tarkesh would be suicide. Aye, laughter among the stars. The Council's chambers rang with laughter. To the elder races, humanity was still an infant civilization, curious, reckless, but ultimately insignificant. Their rise had been quick, too quick, an accident of ingenuity and desperation. In the grand halls of the galaxy, humans were tolerated, nothing more. The Tarkesh used the moment to grandstand. They declared Earth a lesson in restraint, proof that firepower ruled the cosmos, not idealism. Their fleets paraded near neutral worlds, daring any to challenge them. Ambassadors of the Vadral, the Cathar, even the ancient Lorathi shook their heads when humanity spoke of justice. The words echoed the same refrain. You are brave, yes, but bravery cannot stop plasma fire. This is not your war. Forget Eridan, mourn your dead. Anything else would be suicide. The phrase spread like wildfire. Across news nets, taverns, and military academies, the galaxy mocked Earth. The apes will stay in their cage. They must. But on Earth itself, silence reigned. The silence breaks. The silence lasted exactly 30 days. On the 31st, the sky above Mars lit up. From hidden shipyards buried in Phobos and Deimos, leviathans stirred. Hulls forged of layered tungsten carbide rose into orbit, their surfaces black as void. Dreadnoughts, ships no one outside Earth knew existed, slid into formation, silent as the grave. The Terran Navy broadcast nothing. No speeches, no warnings. Only a single chilling message pulsed across every channel in the system. Eridan will be avenged. Council watchers panicked. How had humanity hidden fleets of this scale? How had they armed themselves under the galaxy's nose? The answer was simpler than any dared admit. While other species bragged, humans built. In silence. In shadows. For centuries they had prepared, not for conquest, but for the inevitable day someone would test their patience. That day had come. And humanity's reply was not diplomacy, it was war. Hold my beer. When the Council tried to intervene, when ambassadors begged restraint, Earth's response was almost mocking. At the Council summit, the human representative, Admiral Mara Quinn, stood before the chamber of 300 species. The Tarkesh roared insults. The elder races pleaded caution. And Quinn, calm as midnight, uttered words that froze the galaxy in place. You said it would be suicide. Hold my beer. The chamber fell into chaos. The phrase spread like wildfire, confused at first, then terrifying as its meaning crystallized. Humanity wasn't asking permission. They weren't considering their odds. They were already moving. The March of Vengeance. The Tarkesh Dominion awoke to shadows, blotting out their stars. Human fleets emerged not from one jump point, but from dozens. Black ships unfolded from hyperspace like blades unsheathed, flanking Tarkesh systems with impossible precision. Their hulls bore no markings, only the cold, unyielding glow of weapon arrays charging in silence. The Tarkesh responded with confidence. They had numbers. They had conquered for centuries. Their fleets surged forward in arrogance. Then the first human salvo landed. Neutron lances speared through Tarkesh flagships, ripping kilometer-long vessels apart in seconds. Rail slugs the size of buildings tore stations in half. Human marines, grim, armored, unstoppable, boarded carriers and butchered Tarkesh warriors hand to hand. Every world that had cheered the Tarkesh raid now watched in horror as humanity's vengeance unfolded with surgical precision. This was not war, this was annihilation. Wrath beyond measure. For every child burned on Uridan, a Tarkesh city was leveled. For every family chained in humiliation, a Tarkesh fleet was shattered. For every whisper of suicide, humanity answered with thunder. On the planet Varak, the Tarkesh home fleet, 70 capital ships strong, formed a defensive wall. They laughed at the dozen human dreadnoughts that faced them. But those dreadnoughts unleashed something unseen before, gravitic shear cannons. Space itself screamed. Ships bent, cracked, and imploded under tidal forces. In less than an hour, the Tarkesh fleet was dust. On Korvath Prime, human marines descended like storms. Armored in exosuits powered by fusion hearts, they tore through fortresses once considered impregnable. Tarkesh soldiers who had laughed at human fragility died choking on their own disbelief. The galaxy's news networks broadcast every moment, at first in fascination, then in terror. Because the humans were not slowing, they were not negotiating, they were not even speaking. They were erasing. The annihilation stroke. It ended with a silence so deep the galaxy still whispers of it. The Tarkesh capital, Ulverin, was a jewel world, fortresses, spires, fleets orbiting in eternal vigil. It had never fallen. No enemy had even approached it. The humans did not approach, they arrived. 20 dreadnoughts emerged from hyperspace directly over the planet, their entry calculated to the millisecond. Orbital defenses fired. Fleets surged. The sky became fire. The humans answered with one command: cleanse. Orbital bombardments rained down in incandescent waves. Plasma seas consumed continents. Tarkesh strongholds crumbled like sandcastles before a tide. The screams of billions filled the ether and then were cut short. In 3 days, the Tarkesh Dominion ceased to exist. Aftermath of Ash. When the guns fell silent, the galaxy trembled. The Galactic Council convened in emergency session. The Tarkesh representatives were gone. Entire sectors lay empty, silent graveyards where once a dominion ruled. The elder races, once so confident in their wisdom, sat in silence, unable to meet human eyes. No one dared call humanity reckless now. No one mocked their resolve. And when whispers rose, timid, fearful, about whether Earth would continue its march, humanity's response was calm, chilling, unforgettable. We wanted peace. We asked for peace. But if you take our children, our homes, our lives, we will show you what war truly means. The chamber remained silent, because every species understood the truth. Humanity's patience was vast, but their vengeance was infinite. IX, the whisper that endured. Centuries later, historians would mark that day as the moment the galaxy shifted. Empires measured their ambitions against the memory of the Tarkesh. Pirate clans whispered human curses before raids, fearing retribution. Even the oldest races taught their children a simple rule: never provoke Earth. The phrase, "hold my beer," became legend, a chilling shorthand for defiance beyond reason and for victories beyond imagination. And on the ruins of Uridan Prime, rebuilt and thriving, a monument stood. A single inscription, carved into stone and steel. You said it was suicide. We said, hold our beer. The galaxy would never laugh again.